So we all know kind of how the heat map works by now. I've done enough videos on it explaining how the heat map system in 7 Days to Die works. If you don't know, I'll put a link in the video description down below and you can go watch the basics on how it works. But more or less, the more activity you do, the more it raises the heat map up. You get the heat map up too high and you spawn in one of these ugly creatures. She calls in all of her friends and you have an unwanted zombie party. So we're back over here at the house where I've done all my other heat map tests at, and I'm going to answer the question of, does game difficulty affect how much the heat map is increased? I don't believe it does, but that's why we're over here. So what I did was I made the world's brightest house by putting in about 30 torches, just like we normally do here, and you can see I have the heat map indicator pulled up over on the side. It's a little bit bright now, but if I move into another room, you'll be able to see where it's actually at. This is currently on scavenger difficulty. What I'm going to do is I'm going to let it run for a while in Scavenger, then I'm going to load up the same world in Warrior, and then load it up again in Insane, and see if they all go up by the same amount. If it does, then it doesn't really matter what you do in-game, it's not going to affect the heat map differently. All three of my experiments are on the screen at the same time. I had Scavenger difficulty on the left, Warrior in the center, and Insane difficulty on the right. I let all three of them run for the same amount of time in-game, which was 1 hour in-game. I've sped it up in video to make it a little bit easier to digest without having to sit and wait. But basically I just let all of them run for the same time, did nothing, and stared at the couch just to see how much it would raise the heat map every time that the game updated the heat map. Now you'll see here in just a second when it updates again, the center one's going to roll from the high 80s back around over 100 and start over. That's what happens when the heat map meets 100%. It triggers the screen respawn if it's going to, and then starts back over again. Now in-game, the heat map updates roughly about every 20 seconds if you have the time on default, which in real time is about 60 seconds real world. Now again, it's not an exact decimal, so it's pretty close to that. If you have standard time, about every 1 minute you play the game, it's going to update the heat map. So in here, with me having 30 torches running at the same time, it increased by 15% regardless of what the difficulty was, just kind of standing here not doing anything else. So the difficulty did not affect the heat map in the slightest. So there you have it. Even being in the world's brightest room, it does not change the amount the heat map goes up, regardless of which difficulty you're playing on. So you can play whatever difficulty you want to and know that it's only going to affect how well you are against zombies, not how bad things are going to be with you building, adding things, cooking things, forging things, all that stuff, having to worry about Samara showing up with her friends. So, hopefully this was helpful. If it did, do me a favor and leave a like on the video. If you're new here and you like what you see, maybe consider subscribing and hitting that bell so you get notified when new videos go live. Thank you so much for your time. You have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you later.